dharma, artha and kama, for that the sadhana is karma. We need to do karma to reach the goal of dharma, artha or kama. But the sadhya for moksha, the sadhan is jnana, it is knowledge. So for that we have to get self-knowledge, which Vedanta gives. So here whenever we do karma, we use our physical body, or we use our speech, or we use our mind, which is known as kayika, vachika or manasa karma. So in the beginning when we do our puja and japa and all, we chant our mantras loudly, and we make our offerings with hand and we chant the mantras loudly, which is fine. We start our pujas like that, but eventually we have to progress towards upanshu japa. Upanshu japa is when we start whispering and softly we are praying to God, softly whispering and doing our japas, That is making our mind refined. It is purifying our mind. It's making it subtle. Also, we have to keep in mind that anything loud, we disturb the surroundings, There are students who are studying, there are old people who are sick, who have to sleep. And even if it's my puja, it should not be blared on loudspeakers and so loudly that, it is disturbance. Such a puja is known as tamasic puja. Sattvic puja is when I'm just bonding. This is a bond. A prayer is a bond between me and God, and I don't have to broadcast it, So, but you see what is going on around here. Somebody wants to sing bhajans and prayer, and then the rest of the people can't sleep in the neighborhood, So that is not what it should be. We have to progress from little loud puja to upanshu japa, and eventually we have to reach manasa puja or manasa japa, which is where only the mind is used, Like in meditation, we are just using our mind. And manasa puja is a very high kind of puja where the entire ritual is done by the mind. You go through the entire ritual just in the mind, and that refines the mind, it purifies the mind a lot, it makes the mind very subtle. So this is where we have to progress from loud puja to upanshu japa to manasa puja. Now the scriptures further tell us that though we see that there are so many different goals being pursued here, or even we have understood that there are only 4 goals here, but actually out of all these 4 goals, the human being is seeking only one thing. He is seeking happiness. Either when he is following artha, what is he looking for? He gets all this, what will happen with it? I'll feel very happy, So when he follows the pleasures of this world, what is he seeking out of those pleasures? Happiness is what he's seeking. And the person who's following dharma, he's getting very deep happiness he's getting, because his life is other-centric life, And of course, moksha is absolute happiness. So eventually the scriptures say that the actual sadhya of the human life is getting happiness. So either all our activities which we are doing, either it is to get happiness, or we are doing activities to retain that happiness, or we are doing activities to get rid of unhappiness, or we are doing activities to avoid unhappiness. That is all our activities involved, So what are we looking out for? We are looking out for happiness. And we don't want this happiness to go away. Every person wants the happiness and it wants to retain that happiness, So the human being is not only looking for ananda, he's looking for nitya ananda. He doesn't want this happiness to go away. And the only source a human being knows to get ananda from is this world and the beings in it, Because the actual source, nobody knows that there is some other source which can give us nitya ananda. So presently we are unawares about this nitya ananda source. We only know this world where everything is changing. This world is anitya. The people in this world are changing. Even my body, mind, sense complex is changing. Our bodies were also sweet 16 once upon a time, and we were so agile. But today the body has changed. So our emotions are changing, our intellect is changing. Hence, if I depend on my happiness or on the emotions of somebody, like a person keeps telling me I love you and I'm dependent on that, my happiness is dependent on this emotion of somebody, that emotion can change, because that is what the Murphy's law is. What can change will change, what can go wrong will go wrong. So then I don't have to bank upon the emotions of the people here in this world. And some people, they get such a shock that they go even commit suicide, they go into depression because suddenly the whole scenario is changed here. Somebody just walks out of your life, whom you thought was be all end all and is going to be there till the end of the life. No, this is not what it is. All the sorrow in this world is because of our wrong expectations, The world doesn't give us sorrow. It's only my expectations. I don't know what to expect. I don't, we taking whatever's coming in front of us, this is going to stay on. And then we keep praying that may God it stay. But it may not stay. It may stay, it may not stay. But it's better that I know what is, I have to know some facts here, in this life. So to get this ananda, the human being is wanting finite experiences. He wants to experience this, and everything in the world. He's looking out for experiences to get this happiness. And every experience in this world is finite. It has a beginning and it has an end. You can go anywhere you want to. Go for a holiday, but then you have to come back and you have to face yourself again. So, the human being, because he wants to have Nitya Ananda, he keeps getting more and more finite experiences. But finite plus finite doesn't make it infinite. Finite plus finite is finite. Infinite includes the finite, but the finite doesn't include the infinite, So like India includes Telangana, but Telangana doesn't include India. The ananda of moksha includes the ananda of dharma, artha and kama. But dharma, artha, kama, ananda does not include the ananda of moksha, So that is where the nitya ananda you can get. But not only does the worldly experience are finite, but they are, they have three defects. The worldly happiness has got three defects. They are dukh mishritatvam, atripti karatvam, and bandhakatvam. So dukh mishritatvam is that there is no absolute happiness in this world. It comes mixed with pain. First we have to put effort and pain to get the worldly happiness. Then we have to put effort and pain to retain that happiness. And since the objects are anitya here, when it goes away, it's going to give me pain. So if I suppose I love somebody intensely, then I'm going to get intense pain and the loss of that person, because the intensity of pain is directly proportional to the attachment I have to the objects in this world. So everything, this worldly stuff, the happiness comes here mixed with pain. It is not absolute. So it is dukh mishritatvam, the ananda of this world. Second is atripti karatvam. Any accomplishment in this world doesn't give us 100% tripti. It doesn't give us 100% contentment. Why? Because there is something better available in this world. Anything can be improved in this world, Now suppose I have really worked hard and I've made $1 million. Now I feel very happy for some time, but after some time I start getting used to it and I start feeling dissatisfied again with that whatever I've made. And since there is something more available in this world, $1 billion is available in this world, so then I'm going to look up at what next, what next. So I will keep chasing. So nothing here gives me 100% tripti. So the worldly achievements are atripti karatvam. They will not give 100%. They give some tidbits here, The third is bandhakatvam. So they will bond you, because the world is the only source I know for happiness, and so I'm bound to this world. I'm bound to the source of happiness, because that is what a human being wants. So the scriptures are telling us, they are making us aware of certain facts, because blissfully everybody is ignorant about these facts because nobody is interested in Vedanta, you know. So they say that Nityananda, there is only one source. Yo vai bhuma tat sukham na alpe sukham asti. That which is bhumad, that which is infinite, alone is sukham, that is absolute sukham. Na alpe sukham asti. In that alpe, in that finite, sukham nasti, that is not sukham, that tidbits the world gives you and then that source goes away and you're left with pain. So that is not called sukham. So this world, either it is giving me direct dukkham, or when the source of happiness goes away, then it gives me dukkham. So the dukh is either direct or it is indirect dukkham. So this is what the world can give you. So the scriptures say that there is a source which is going to give you Nityananda, and that is knowing that you are yourself infinite in nature, for which this is understood by self-realization, and self-realization is understood by self-knowledge. You know? So they also want to make it clear that self-realization is not an experience. This is a major confusion here in this world, you know, that people are looking out for some blissful experience in self-realization. Lots of people will say that, oh, I saw this color light and I saw blue light, and oh, I was transported to another world when I did meditation, you know. So Vedanta makes it very clear that there is no mysticism, there are no mysterious experiences in the world. Even that nirvikalpa samadhi, which Patanjali Yoga talks about, in which you go into samadhi and you have disidentified with the body, mind, sense complex, is an experience. You will sit in samadhi and then you will get up from samadhi. So it ends. And also, if you don't know what is happening in samadhi, if you don't have the knowledge of what is happening, you get up as ignorant as you went into samadhi, you know. So that is not the answer. People are just, you know, there's some people sitting in caves there, you know, in the Himalayas and all that. So they are only trying to experience. The samadhi comes, it may come, it may not come. They're striving for samadhi, and then they come out of samadhi. Then they try to go back into samadhi again. But if there is one source which will give you, you know, like the power supply, we have the UPS, uninterrupted power supply. And if you want UHS, uninterrupted happiness supply, then there is only one source, and that Nityananda you get by knowledge, knowing that you are the Atma, which is Paramatma. And Tattva Bodha, which we are studying, is teaching us all about that, how to achieve that goal. So we have studied in Tattva Bodha. First, we did the Mangala Charan mantra, which I just chanted, and next time onwards, please chant it, because it is a very, you know, it's so nice to chant a prayer mantra. So it's just 2 lines and you can learn it up. So first, this text is supposed to be written by Adi Shankaracharya. It is supposed to be written because none of our scriptures, you know, most of them, the authors didn't write their name in the end, you know, because they are not worried, they don't take themselves as individuals and they don't write their name. So it is from the Shaili, the method of writing, that is figured out that this is written by Adi Shankaracharya, you know. So he starts the text with this Mangalacharan mantra, and then this entire text is in prose form, you know. There are only 2 verses in this text, the first and the last. The prose form, it is a dialogue between the Guru and Shishya, and the names of the Guru Shishya are not given in this text, unlike Bhagavad Gita where the names are given. So the whole thing is a dialogue. So we had done 2 statements in the last class, you know. The first statement of this text, the Guru who is giving the answers here, he has spoken about Anubandh Chatushte of this text. Anubandh Chatushte, some people here know about it, that it involves 4 topics. It talks about the Adhikari, the person who deserves this knowledge is known as the Adhikari, and then talks about the subject matter of the text, Then it talks about the prayojanam, the benefit which one will get out of studying this text, and it talks about sambandha, the relationship between my life and this knowledge. So first the Guru talks about the adhikari, and he says this adhikari is sampanna with sadhan chatushtay sampatti. He is endowed with fourfold qualities which are a sadhana, which are a means to take him to moksha. Then the Vishaya, the subject matter of this entire text, he says, is Tattva Viveka Prakaram. Prakaram is the method, Tattva Vivek is the inquiry into the Tattva of this creation. And this creation is made up of, the Tattva means what it is composed of. There are three things which compose this universe, which is Jiva, the individual, Jagat, this world which we are encountering, and Ishvara. So the entire text is going to systematically, it will tell us the method how to inquire into this. Then the prayojanam is the benefit. What am I going to get out of this study, So the Guru says you're going to get moksha, you are going to be liberated, you'll get freedom. And the sambandha is that this knowledge is going to make me jivan mukta. Moment to moment my life is going to become free. Only it's even difficult to understand what that means, because as Vedanta goes by, things become very clear. Then the second statement which we had already seen was that the Guru talks about this sampatti, this sadhan chatushtaya sampatti he talks about, because he says his student is sampanna with the sadhan chatushtaya sampatti. But all the seekers of moksha have to know that they also have to be sampanna. They also must have these qualities. So sadhana chatushtaya, again chatushtaya means four, which are a sadhana for moksha. So he talks about these four qualities. The people who have these qualities in good amount, 100% nobody has, but if it is there in good amount, very quickly they will understand this knowledge, And if they do not have it in optimum amount, then they will find it difficult to understand what is being said here. So we have to work upon ourselves, we have to introspect and see where we are lacking, and we can always improve ourselves, and prepare ourselves for moksha. So he says the first quality is nitya anitya vastu vivekaha. The student of spirituality, a student who is seeking moksha, must know how to discriminate between the nitya vastu in this world and anitya vastu in this world. And they are both there, even to know that there is nitya vastu in this world, most of the people don't even know. They just know this anitya world and anitya vastus here. So there is a nitya vastu here. And this we have to, because the scriptures are going to teach us about it. And they're telling us this so that we don't have wrong expectations from anitya. Our expectations are of permanence from something which is impermanent, Anitya is impermanent, it's ephemeral, it's going to go away. But I'm expecting permanence out of it. So if I know this, if I have this vivek, then I will have an appropriate attitude towards what is nitya and what is anitya. And I will give more importance to nitya because that is what is going to stay, this is going to go away, So the first quality he says is nitya anitya vastu vivekaha. A student of spirituality must know. The second is vairagya. So this is another quality, which is very important. Actually, this discriminates a materialistic person from a spiritual person, is vairagya. So vairagya is dispassion, it is detachment. It is not craving or longing for these anitya experiences, anitya happiness in this world, Because if this anitya, this experience, this happiness which we get from the anitya vastus have got a knack of trapping us, because we get a kick, we get some happiness out of that experience, and then because it becomes a source of happiness, I want to go on repeating it, or else I want even a better experience in life. So anitya is going to trap you. And you'll just keep chasing, the whole life will go away if you chase the anitya vastus, So a person who develops vairagya from anitya vastus. Vairagya is vigat raga iti vairagya. There's no longing, there's no craving for these sensory pleasures over here. So that is the second quality which a person of spirituality must have. The third is Shamadhi Shatk Sampatti. Sampatti is inner wealth, Shatk is 6, and Shama Adi. He says Shamadhi, Adi is etc. Shama is tranquility of the mind. So a person, he's going to tell all the 6 qualities now. But in the beginning he just mentions Shamadhi Shatk Sampatti is a qualification. This third qualification is a group of 6 values which a seeker of spirituality must have. Then the fourth is Mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam is the desire one gets in for moksha. So unless this mumukshutvam comes, this pursuit of spirituality is not a serious one. Person is not serious over there, he's casual. And for a casual person, God is not in a hurry to give moksha to anyone, This knowledge he has insulated. It is an open secret. You can sit for janmas and listen to what is being said and still not understand what is the actual meaning here. Or even if there is some intellectual understanding, it won't get assimilated. And if it's not getting assimilated, then my life is not going to change, because the problems of life are going to remain. All this anxiety, stress, tension, all that will not go if I have not assimilated that knowledge. So only God, and moksha is when God reveals himself to his devotee, and God will only reveal himself to a person who has moksha as the top priority and who puts in his best, So we'd seen these 2 statements in the last class, and now we will read further. Please repeat after me when I chant the statement. Nitya अनित्य वस्तु विवेक कह नित्य वस्तु एकम ब्रह्म तद व्यतिरिक्तम सर्वम अनित्यम अयमेव नित्या नित्य वस्तु विवेकः. So the first is the student asking the question, what is kaha means what? What is nitya and anitya vastu vivekaha? What is this vivekaha? And the Guru says, nitya vastu ekam brahmaha. The nitya vastu is only one here, which is brahmaha. Tad vyatiriktam sarvam anityam. Other than that, everything is anityam here. Ayameva nitya nitya vastu viveka. This alone is nitya nitya vastu viveka. Knowing this much is this viveka. So he is saying nitya vastu ekam brahmaha. It is not Brahma. Brahmaji is the creator of this world, And the truth, the reality is known by many names in the scriptures, It is either called Brahma, or it is called Brahman, or it is called Atma, or it is called Atman. It is also called Tattva or Tattvam, So there are many names, but Brahma is Brahmaji, So he says, Nitya Vastu Ekam Brahma. There's only one Nitya Vastu, which is Brahma. Brahma means Brahatvat idi Brahma. That which is Brahat. Brahat is infinite, which is limitless, which is free from all limitations, So the limitations are of 3 types. An object can be limited in time, it can be limited in space, or it can be limited by objectivity, So limitation of time is that the object is called Adi Antavantaha. There is Adi, there is a beginning. Anta, there is an end. So a person which has an object which has a beginning and end is limited by time. He comes into existence at a particular time and he goes away at a particular time. So there is a date of birth and there is a date of death. And that thing which is free from these 2 dates is eternally present here. It is present here and now. So that is known as Brahma. It is Ananta. So then second limitation is limitation in space. So an object is all limited in space here. My body is limited in space. If my body is here, then it's not there. Your body, because you're sitting in the class, you're not at home. So you're limited. The body is limited in space, But the Nitya Vastu is spatially limitless. It is free from spatial limitations, just like space is, So Atma is compared to space all over in the scriptures. We also just read Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya. It is Vyomavad. Vyom is space, So space has no spatial limitations. Why? Because there is no place where there is no space. Can we think of a place without space? No. Everywhere there is space. So similarly, Atma or Brahma is spatially limitless. It is present everywhere. Then the third limitation is limitation by objectivity. Each object is itself and not the other. My body is not like your body. A butterfly is not like a bird. A bird is not like a flower. Each object is limited by its objectivity, But Brahma doesn't have any limitations of objectivity. What does that mean? It means that every object in this world is Brahma. It is the manifestation of God. Every one is the manifestation of God. Just like gold ornaments, all the gold ornaments are made only out of gold. All the wooden furniture is made only out of wood. So all the objects in this world, the Tattva is Brahma. That is why we say God is everywhere. So God is not just in the temple. God is in the temple also. God is not just in Vaikuntha and Kailasha. God is in Vaikuntha and Kailasha also. God is not just inside me. God is inside me also. So this knowledge one will come to know only if I study Vedanta. Otherwise, the general concept is God is in the temple, That is why there is huge queues and stampedes are happening in the temple, because people are standing there in the long queues and asking God to please solve all the problems of my life, So, but there are wrong expectations because the knowledge is wrong, the first thing the scriptures tell us that God is the author of the law of karma, which is based on law of dharma, He is karma adhyaksha. He presides over the law of karma. He is karma phal data. He is giving us the results of our karma. Every situation which is in front of me is a phala of my karma, which I have done in this life, or I may have done many janmas before, Just like a seed, different seeds sprout at different timings. Similarly, karma phalas, they sprout at different timings. When it's going to sprout, only God knows. So God takes many factors into account, and then He gives us the phala of our karma in a very just and fair way. There is no question of injustice when it comes to Lord's law of karma, So everything which is in front of me is fair and square, and this is not what I desire. He is going to give me what I deserve. So this knowledge is not known. We have to accept this situation, everything which is coming in front of me with prasada buddhi. That is what we are taught from childhood, that in the temple, when we get prasada, whether it is my very favorite laddu, or it is some fruit, or it is even one leaf, or just a little bit of water which the temple priest is giving me, I have to accept it with a lot of reverence. Why? Because it is loaded with God's blessings, it is coming from God to me. So we accept that. But when it comes to the life situations, then some of them are very angry with God also. But this is what is taught. This is what that prasada means. We have to accept the situations of life with prasada buddhi here. And once I accept it, there is going to be no resistance in the mind, all the sorrow is because of this mental resistance. That particular situation in life is not giving me so much of sorrow, but this resistance, why me, why is this happening to me, why is this happening to me, is what the sorrow is all about. Every sorrow can be traced back to a wrong expectation, and most of the time, our expectations are going all wrong, and lots of people are annoyed with God, because they don't know anything about who is God and what is the law of karma. God is helpless. I mean, the situation which is in front of me is called prarabdha karma. My prarabdha karma is in front of me. Prarabdha is arabdha. Arabdha means which is already started here. It is started. So if I have gone and done some karma in whichever janma it may be, and today I just go and break some, couple of nariyals, or put one, I put 1 kg laddu there. Oh, God doesn't want your laddus, please, So this is all wrong. What do people talk over here, So the prarabdha, if it is durbal prarabdha, if it is a very weak prarabdha, he can modify it, Just like a person who's in the prison and his sentence is cut down because his conduct has been very good, Similarly, God may, that also not sure. He may change the situation for us a little bit if the prarabdha is durbal. But prabal prarabdha, he is helpless. He can't do anything. So what I'm praying for also I should know, I should go and pray for strength and courage. God, give me the strength and courage to face my situations of life, my prarabdha karma, that is not known. And then there was a lady, she picked up all the Bhagavan ka murtis and went and threw it in the ocean, Why? Because she wanted her daughter to get married, and for so many years she's praying to God, and she's done every possible ritual, and she's gone to all the temples, but her daughter doesn't get married, So she says, what kind of an impartial God is this, I've done everything, I thought he was merciful, and she picks up the Bhagwan ka murti and goes and throws it away, I'm never going to pray to this God. Actually, I have also met a physiotherapist, and she is telling me that I'll never pray to God. I said, why? She says, my father, he was such a religious person that we would open our eyes chanting mantras. We were supposed to put our foot down chanting mantras. This is what he had taught us. And suddenly her father died. So she is so annoyed with God that this God, my father taught me to pray to you, and you took my father away from me. I'll never pray to you again, So this is all the, some wrong notions which people have, and because of what are they doing? They're going and, there's stampedes happening in the temple queues, because this knowledge is missing. So the Guru is telling us that Nityavastu Ekam Brahma. You please find out the Nityavastu so that you can lean on the Nityavastu. Emotional leaning on the Nityavastu is very important. Then you can, holding on to the Nityavastus, you enjoy the Anitya, knowing its nature of impermanence. It's there, as long as it's there, good. It's not there, also it's good, But I'm holding on to my God, Nityavastu. God, in religion we say God, and in spirituality we call it Atma, we call it Brahma. Just like, we travel in a moving bus, and if we don't get a seat, we'll first hold on to either the sidebar or the handles hanging on top, Then we can enjoy that bus journey. So the life is also one big bus journey. Or worse still, it is that roller coaster, where the people are holding on to the bar and they're screaming because of excitement, So we have to know how to live this life. And once scriptures are declaring it loud and clear that look here, please do not lean on these anitya vastus emotionally, because this is injurious for your health. It will just drop away. Don't make them your crutches, because if the crutch gives way, you will hurt yourself, Just like the cigarette packet says, smoking is injurious to your health. So scriptures are telling us loud and clear, no leaning on the anitya vastus of this world. And relax, God is taking care of you. Why are you even worried all the time? And be sure that even physical help, leave alone emotional, physical help also he is going to send for you. This is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, this is one big family. What are you depending on the two, me and mine, One goes away and there you're in depression. Don't worry, This is God will you when you need help, that doorbell of yours is going to ring and there'll be somebody in front to help you. Or your phone will ring and there's going to somebody there to help you. You relax, physical help also God is going to send for you. And first you find out who is God, because you yourself are that Brahman, So this is the first thing. Then we'll read ahead. Viragaha kaha iha swarga bhogeshu ichha rahityam. So next the student is asking, what is viragaha? What is vairagya you're talking about? And the teacher says, iha, here, in this world, or swarga, or even in heaven, bhogeshu, bhog is this, getting sensual pleasures from these experiences in this world here, That is called bhoga, always indulging in experiences which are going to give me some pleasure, sensual pleasures here. And also in heaven, because the scriptures talk about this heavenly pleasures, so the scriptures mention about that always. So, ichharahityam, the desire for these sensual pleasures has gone from the student of spirituality, because he's understood what is nitya and what is anitya here, The sensual pleasures are of two types. One is the adharmic, immoral, illegal, sensual pleasures, which of course one should never ever indulge in, The other is the legitimate, the moral, which are within morality. They are righteous, Those sensual pleasures also, one must not be addicted to, craving, longing for those sensual pleasures. Such a person can't study the scriptures. To study the scriptures, all this craving and longing has to have subsided, So this student, the Guru is teaching, he has become free. So he is not having, he has grown out. You cannot suppress, you cannot suppress these desires which are present inside us. Because anything you suppress is going to erupt out like a volcano anytime, So one has to grow over it. Like we have grown over our childhood toys. If the toy is present or is not present, we may even play with it with our children. But there's no longing for it anymore, But that's natural. That is a natural thing which is present in every human being. We are going to grow out of it. But here, this world, this very tempting world where everybody gets lured to, This here, you have to grow out of the desire for sensual pleasures here so that you can put your mind in spirituality. So then we read ahead. Shamadhi sadhan sampatti ka shamodama uparamaha titiksha Shraddha, Samadhanam, Cheti. Then we'll read one more line. Shamakaha, Mano Nigraha. So then the student is asking, what is this Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, which is a sadhan for moksha? So, Shatka Sampatti, the inner wealth, which are 6, these inner 6 virtues which a person should have and which will take him to moksha. So first the Guru enumerates them. He says Shama, then he says Dama, then he says Uparama, then he says Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. Cheti, I told you earlier, in Sanskrit, when many things are mentioned, in the end, they'll write cha iti, these. So it is and it's a conjunction. So then the student asks, Shama kaha? Shama is the tranquility of mind. And the student is asking, what is this tranquility of mind? And how do I get this tranquility of mind? So the Guru says, by manonigraha, by mastering your mind. So this mind is known as antaha karanaha in Sanskrit, Antaha is inside, karana is an instrument. This is my inner instrument, So this human mind is such an extraordinary, superior instrument which God has created, that it is because of this mind and the capacities God has put in this mind, the potential which this instrument has, that human being can achieve any goal in this world, whether it is material goal or it is spiritual goal, What science has been able to achieve today is because of this mind. People are sitting in space station, and the moon and the Mars, everything's become accessible, The whole world has become a global village. We are communicating from one part of the world to the other part of the world. This achievement is only because the human being has been able to tap the potential which God has given him in the mind, The animals, their minds are conditioned, What they were doing 5,000 years ago, they are still doing that. A bird made its nest in a particular way 5,000 years ago. Today also it's making the same kind of nest, And see the human houses. What has the human being achieved, It is just remarkable. It is because of this equipment, this instrument, But if I don't know how to master this equipment, there is another capacity this instrument has. It is going to turn you into its slave and become the master, So then we will dance to its tunes, we will obey the mind, we will fulfill its demands. That is what the addicts are doing. All the addicts are the slave to their mind. They don't have the strength not to do what the mind is demanding them to do, So the mind can be my friend if it is mastered, or else the mind will be my enemy if I don't know how to handle this very, very, difficult instrument, and a marvelous instrument actually. But again, we can't, the mastery is not by suppression. We can't suppress the mind. It has to be, we have to understand the nature of the mind, and we have to know the technique of mastering this mind. That is why it is said, man jeete jag jeet. If you man ko jeet liya, to jag ko jeet liya. If you have mastered this mind, it's as good as conquering this world. Because most of the problems are coming, mind-created problems, So the mind is not the brain. The brain belongs to this physical body, which is known as Thula Sharira. We are made up of 3 Shariras, This is not who we are. We are made up of 3 Shariras, which the scripture is telling us, Sthul Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Karan Sharira. The gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body, which makes up a human being. And the physical body is a very small part of it, So the brain belongs to the physical body, and the mind belongs to the subtle body. Mind is the flow of thoughts, This is what the mind is. And the base may be the brain, the locus is the brain, but the flow of thoughts is called the mind. And the thoughts in Sanskrit are known as vrittis. So each vritti which is happening in my mind is a marvelous creation of God, It is just magnificent if you even introspect and see what is happening. Each thought which is coming in my mind is an audio video clip which brings in the subject, object, and time and space. In the scriptures, when they talk about the instrument and subject and object, the mind as an instrument which has a subject and an object in every thought, that this triad is known as Triputi in the scriptures, We're going to study about it as we study Vedanta. So this is the nature of the mind. To produce thoughts is the nature of the mind. Just like fire, the nature of fire is to produce heat. The nature of mind is to produce thoughts. So the mind has got 3 levels. The conscious level of the mind, the subconscious level of the mind, and the unconscious level of the mind. The thoughts which are present in the conscious level of the minds are known as Thula Vrittis. They are the gross thoughts. I am aware of those thoughts, Then the thoughts which are present in the subconscious level of the mind are known as Sukshma Vrittis. There are subtle thoughts which are happening at the subconscious level. And the thoughts which are happening at the causal level of the mind, the unconscious level of the mind, is known as ati sukshma vrittis. They are very, very subtle thoughts happening. Just like, in the ocean, on top we see these huge waves, and at the center there are subtle waves, and at the bottom the ocean is supposed to be very calm, but it's not free from waves. There are some very subtle waves at the bottom of the ocean. Similarly, our mind, just like the ocean is producing waves, our mind is producing thoughts all the time. So we don't have to struggle to become thoughtless, because the nature of the mind is to produce thoughts. So these gross vrittis which are happening, the seed actually of the vrittis is the causal body. The causal body has got the seed, because causal body is the ignorance. I have this about myself. I don't know who I am, and that becomes the seed for all the thoughts to arise. And in the subconscious mind, the pre-thought stage is present, known as vasanas. These are the pre-thought stages present in the subconscious mind. And these keep bubbling up as thoughts in the conscious mind all the time. So in the conscious mind, I'm experiencing two kinds of thoughts. They are the involuntary thoughts and they are the voluntary thoughts. Just like breathing. Breathing is involuntary, Thank God for that. Because God didn't leave us this task of breathing on us. Otherwise, we people, the bhulakkad people we are, then we'll forget to breathe sometime and we'll pop off, So God kept that in his hand. Breathing is involuntary. He says, don't worry, you people are, I'll take care of that, But this involuntary breathing, I can make it voluntary. Because when I do pranayama, I can change the rhythm of breathing, So in pranayama, we are doing re chakra, puraka and kumbhaka. So when I do re chakra, that is I breathe out to the full capacity, I'm changing the breathing rhythm, and then I hold my breath there. That is known as bahya kumbhaka. And then I breathe in to my full capacity, known as puraka, and then I hold my breath again. That is known as antara kumbhaka. So by this I have changed the rhythm of involuntary breathing into voluntary breathing. And these, the hatha yogis, they master pranayam, and, they are able to even control their breathing. And because of that, they'll go and sit under the ocean, or they'll dig a pit and in the earth and go sit down there, because they have controlled their breathing. But this siddhi belongs to anatma, pranayama. And Vedanta has nothing to do with this. Vedanta is studying the atma. Anatma siddhis, whoever as per Vedanta is, you're wasting your time, you do all this, somebody standing on one leg and somebody is doing something, whatever you're doing, you keep doing it, best of luck to you. You are working on anatma, which is anitya, which is going to die and go away in any case, So Vedanta is talking about something nitya, it's talking about atma. So here, these thoughts which are being produced in the conscious mind, we have involuntary thoughts and they're voluntary thoughts, So when I'm using my mind consciously, when I'm doing an activity, I'm studying, I'm making some plans, whatever I'm doing, I'm praying, I'm doing research, I'm using my mind. And then there are voluntary thoughts present in the mind. But the moment the activities stop, the mind is not going to sit quietly, because this nature is to produce thoughts. So then constantly, the thoughts are bubbling up, and these are involuntary thoughts. The constant thought production is happening. Now, when I perceive this world, we perceive it through our 5 senses. Senses are sense of sight and smell and hearing and taste and touch. These are known as gyan indriyas. I get the jnana of this world through my gyan indriyas. But these gyan indriyas have to be backed by the mind. If the mind is not backing, then we haven't got the perception. If you're watching TV for some time and your mind went somewhere, then that part of the clip is gone. We didn't register it, So this data which the senses are bringing in, this has to be converted, processed by the mind into a thought. And the thought is what we perceive, And then we respond to this world through our karmendriyas, my 5 organs of action. I respond to this world. That is also provoked and pushed by the thoughts, Every action which I do is being done only because the thought is pushing us to do that. Suppose I'm sitting quietly and suddenly I get up. It is because the thought had come in the mind. But all this is so quick that I don't know what is happening. A thought would be, oh, I have to do that, and there I will get up, and I'll suddenly get up. So just like a car is working either on petrol, diesel, or even electricity today, this equipment, this body of mine is based on thoughts. It is thoughts which are pushing us to, do any action, thoughts by which I am perceiving this world, thoughts which are troubling me here, thoughts which are making me very tranquil, So the whole game is this thought related, So the capacity to control the involuntary thoughts by will, so that my mind is available to me when I want to study, especially study of the scriptures, that capacity is known as mano nigraha, this capacity of the mind. So it is easy said than done. It is a tough job, and a person who is happy, who is tranquil, who's cheerful, is because he has a cheerful mind, And how we get this kind of a mind, we'll have to study, I guess, in the next class, because it's all very lengthy. So Arjuna tells Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balvadranam tasyaham nigraham manye vayo rivasu dushkaram. He says, Krishna, this mind is chanchalam, it is so unsteady, it is pramati, it is a tyrant, balvat, it is so strong, dhriram, it is so well rooted. Tasyaham nigraham manye. I think its nigraha is vayo ivasu dushkaram. It is so difficult. I think it's as difficult as trying to catch air. It is that difficult, to handle this mind. And Bhagavan says, asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraha chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grahayate. Asamshayam Mahabaho. There's no doubt Mahabaho means mighty armed Arjuna. No doubt that Mano Durnigraha Chalam, it is very difficult to handle this mind. It is Chalam, it is so unsteady. But Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Grahayate. You can control Grahayate, you can control it by Abhyasa and by Vairagya, Abhyasa is what? Practicing. Like when I sit in meditation, I'm doing my japa, or I'm meditating on my Ishta Devata, the mind runs away. Then you bring it back again, Then again you do for a little bit, again the mind runs away. Then you bring it back again. So this is abhyasa, you're practicing. And as you practice, the mind is an instrument. It is going to start getting controlled, And the other is vairagya. Vairagya is vigata raga iti vairagya. Please be free from this raga and dvesha in your mind, Raga is the strong attachments for objects and beings in this world, because whatever I'm attached to, only those thoughts will go on coming in the mind, Or if I have dvesha, if I have hatred for people around here, then also those thoughts are going to come in my mind. So my mind is not going to be tranquil if I have raga or I have dvesha, So if I want to be free, if I want to get hold of this mind, I want the mind to be tranquil so that it's available when I'm studying, then I have to be free from vairagya. And by these two methods, grahayate, you can control your mind. So we will continue in our next class.